Peter, what do we know?
Well, yeah, you're seeing an interesting drop right now in the Tencent shares, especially because it doesn't look like there's a very clear reason behind this. I think those were quite brave words from Bridgewater's Dalio about sticking with China and believing that these are long-term opportunities for investors too. But I think investors learned a lesson with the crackdown on educational companies. They had gotten some early signs from state media, from Xi Jinping himself, that the government was unhappy with some of the practices of these education companies, and they kept holding on to the stocks. And then we got this very aggressive rush of new regulations, and it dropped the shares 70%, 80%. And I think in the case of Tencent, you're seeing these hints in state media about something that could be coming, and investors are selling first, and they're going to ask questions later. I think you hit exactly on the key point about this could be spiritual opium for the country, and that's a signal for investors that they want to get out of the way.
Peter, haven't we been here before with the gaming approvals and the regulatory overhang that we saw back in 2019 that did weigh on companies like Tencent? How is this different?
Yeah, it has been kind of a back and forth with Tencent, which is the biggest gaming company in China and in the world. There have been some regulations off and on, especially involving foreign games and whether the company was going to be able to offer some of these foreign titles, whether they were going to get the approvals for new titles going forward. So there have been some government questions about the value of gaming and how much it's distracting kids from other things that they could be doing. But this looks like perhaps a serious concern for the company. And the bigger backdrop here is we've seen this series of very aggressive crackdowns in other areas. And I think investors are just spooked that perhaps it could come to the gaming industry too, and it could mean very difficult things ahead for Tencent.